My name is Jael Tombaugh. Today I'm excited to be sharing aspects of a piece I wrote for my English 122 creative essay with you. It's important to note that this is not my entire piece, but highlights some of the best and most important parts of each section of my essay. I chose to write a nonfiction piece to show my passion for a key part of my life, showing lambs, while also challenging myself to truly blend my voice into the story. My piece was inspired by Eula Biss's structure and research in the pain scale, Robert Vivian's simple, vivid, and impactful stories in Falling into the Arms of a Dervish, and Annie Dillard's description in Heaven and Earth in Jest, blending my favorite aspects from those pieces into my writing. Thus, here is my piece, entitled A Fine Friend, The Lessons from a Lamb, a story of love, loss, and learning. Oh, and before I start, I apologize in advance for any minor distractions my sheep or the animals around me may cause. I'm giving this presentation from a barn, and I'm pretty sure the animals won't be as great of an audience as you all are. Love. I'd always looked up to all the showmen at the fair, the girls and boys in their rainbow of show clothes, handling their animals so elegantly, as if it was the easiest thing in the world to handle animals twice, even 3 times their size. I never thought I would be one of the kids with the lamb, cow, or pig. Horses were where my heart was. However, I wanted and needed to be back, to be a part of the Eaton County Fair in a new way, raising livestock. Coincidentally, my first year as a volunteer at the state fair was just before I had to make the difficult decision about what species to show. After my volunteer shift, I found my way to the animals, walking through the crowded corrals of pigs, horses, cows, and finally sheep. There was one sheep in particular that caught my eye. A large male positioned on the silver metal pen, reaching his neck out to any person that passed, begging for attention. I found my way over to him and pet his soft yet prickly muzzle, as he kindly nipped at my fingers, soaking up all of the attention like a sponge. I was in an environment full of people, carnival rides, and chaos, yet the only thing that seemed to exist at that moment was the sheep in me. A small smile found its way to my face, and that's when I knew my heart was with sheep.
The journey to raising market lambs came with a lot of doubt. However, I found that I was capable of raising market lambs. I fell in love with the crisp mornings and the long, blazing afternoons spent with my lambs. The barn became my safe place. If I wasn't at school, I was at the barn. I spent hours with my lambs to get them ready for the show, but that wasn't all. What I truly fell in love with was the hours I spent reading to my lambs, cuddling by their sides, doing schoolwork, or playing hide-and-go-seek. Yes, I really did play hide-and-go-seek with my lambs.
Loss. As Khalil Gibran once said, if you love somebody, let them go, for if they return, they were always yours. If they don't, they never were. My family fell in love with Bellamy, the small black lamb, but she needed a companion to come home with us. Since sheep can't be alone, and since my aunt had no other animals, we had to find a solution: the devil goat. When I saw the goat, I felt nothing, an extremely bizarre occurrence for me. I had always loved all animals, even when I first met them. However, something was different this time. The second we put the goat in with Bellamy, they butted heads, screamed at each other, and wanted nothing to do with each other. Hours of the same pattern followed. We had to get rid of the goat. I then realized Bellamy wouldn't just be alone when the goat left. She would be unhappy, living a life she didn't deserve. My aunt's house isn't a place to keep sheep long term. Bellamy would live in a dry lot with no grass her entire life, and that's not what she deserved. She deserved to be a sheep rather than a companion, one that lived on acres and acres of green grass surrounded by a flock of other sheep. I couldn't keep her. I had to let go. The realization hit me hard as the world began to spin around me. The soft voices of my aunt and mom disappeared into the distance as I stared into the deep brown earth. The afternoon sun slowly heated my back until the burning sensation creeped through my back and into my stomach. A wave of nausea slammed into me, knives slowly piercing into my stomach and heart. Salty tears found their way to the corners of my mouth. Pain filled my body, everywhere. I was confused, upset, hurt, frustrated, blindsided. For almost 6 months I had believed I was keeping this lamb, my first one, the one that I loved like a best friend. Now I had to let her go. All I could do was scream. My emotions balled together and wouldn't stop rolling. All I could do was scream. I wanted more than anything to never say goodbye, to keep Bellamy in my arms forever. But I had to do what was best for her. My heart shattered into a billion pieces. The warm, burning sensation of vomit fought its way up my esophagus, pounding at the back of my throat. I swallowed hard, fighting back like a knight. I was not going to throw up. I was not going to throw up. I was not going to. The vomit came back with a vengeance, projecting out of me with no warning. My throat burned, but there was some kind of satisfaction that followed shortly after. I felt empty, instead of full of guilt, sadness, and pain. My body shuddered as I slowly brought my hand to the tendrils of hair that had descended from behind my ears. My eyes glassed over, salty tears no longer on my face. Numbness consumed me.
Learning. True love is a love of giving, not receiving. Dr. Abraham Tversky. Bellamy now lives with a family friend, Becky, on 10 acres of green pasture with a little girl that absolutely loves her. Bellamy is truly a sheep now. She has found a flock of her own while also having her person, Becky's little girl. Although at the time it broke my heart to let her go, if I could go back, I wouldn't do it differently. Bellamy is happy. I know she wouldn't have been truly happy if she was still with me today. I didn't only give Bellamy the life she deserved, but I gave a little girl a best friend for years to come. Right after Bellamy was gone, I told myself that I would never raise lambs ever again. It hurt too much. I lost my passion. However, somewhere along that road, I began to heal. I began to realize that I loved raising lambs, and I didn't want to give up the true happiness that raising a project brought me. I didn't want to forget the feelings of the first time a lamb begins to trust you and lays next to you, or when they are still unsure of you and walk up to you for the first time, getting so close to your face that you can feel their warm, damp breath against your nose. I didn't want to forget being in the show ring. I didn't want that piece of me to crumble. So although I was extremely unsure about jumping back in with an open heart, it was one of the best decisions I have ever made. Last year I met my heart lambs, Samuel and Salem. This year I have just met my new pair, Chaplin and Chomper.
The name Bellamy means fine friend. I think this name fits her and our relationship well. She was surely a fine friend, one that meant the world to me, one that I gave for, one that showed me the ropes of life. Love, sacrifice, selflessness, giving. I didn't know what Bellamy meant to me until she was gone. A part of my heart will always belong to Bellamy. I gave a piece of myself to her. If I had never raised lambs, or never given Bellamy up and continued raising lambs, I could have gone my entire life without a piece of me. Lambs are a piece of who I am. I hope that this piece of me allows me to continue to wear my heart on my sleeve, never give up on my passions, and never lose hope. I may be surprised as to where life takes me when I'm unafraid of loving, losing, and learning. I'm sure my lambs were your main entertainment throughout my presentation, but nonetheless, thank you.